morning, my fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests that we have today. Every year, my mother gives me the best gift that I could ever have on my birthday. You see, she's been telling me the story of the day that I was born every year of my life. It doesn't matter where I am in the world or if we're together, she finds a way. She's a mom, right? Every year it's a different story, just a little bit. And we both have a very different experience with the story. So it was the evening of April 9th, 1978. And it was the year that I turned 10. The time that I was living in Berkeley, California, but that night I was at a sleepover at my best friend Mary's house. We'd been friends since we were 2, and we spent our younger years chasing peacocks and riding horses at our parents' 5-acre plot in Walnut Creek, California. It was just after 10 o'clock, and the phone rang, and it was my mother, because it was the hour of my birth, and she was calling to tell me the story of the day I was born. Lucky us that we were still up at 10 o'clock, right? It was that night that I realized how incredibly powerful and amazing this gift was that my mother was giving me every year. I knew I would cherish it for my life. Fast forward to the morning of April 9th, 1995. I was awoken by the sounds of cock-a-doodle-doo, the roosters in my neighborhood. I was sleeping upstairs in my open-air bedroom of my home in Bali, Indonesia. My love for international business had taken me halfway around the world for a job in the fashion industry, where I was putting my degree from UC Davis in textile science to good use. I threw on my daily uniform of a floral sundress and flip-flops, and I headed out to the office. You see, this is before that World Wide Web thing and the email thing that we now use to communicate with. I was anxious to see if it would be there, and indeed it was. A handwritten fax from my mother. I held back the tears until I got next door, and I settled in with a cup of Balinese coffee and a bowl of black rice pudding that I usually had for breakfast. As I read the familiar words, the tears flowed. You see, it was a big day in the history of the United States. And I shared that with the story of my birth. It was the day of April 9th, 2001, and I was frantically driving around Lima, Peru for work, wondering when was I going to get that phone call or the email from my mother with the story of the day I was born. I'd been bragging to my friends that it was coming and I was going to share it. My phone was ringing off the hook because I had tons of friends in Lima who worked in the fashion industry in all the different factories. And birthdays are a big deal in Peru. And then it finally came. That email from my mom. And it was full of those familiar details. You see, it always included at least 3 important points. The first was, I was late. You know how moms feel about a baby being 2 weeks late. And the second was that she'd spent the day crying. You see, she'd been watching the funeral of Martin Luther King Jr. on TV. I'll hold my tears back now. I've had a minute for that. And the third was so beautiful. She always included this, that when they laid me upon her and she saw me for the first time, I stared in her eyes with a look, and she knew I was special. Fast forward to the evening of April 9th, 2012. And I was drinking an amazing homemade margarita, sitting on the veranda of my aunt and uncle's home in Baja, California, while the sun was setting behind us and we were looking out at the Sea of Cortez. You all want to go there, I promise. It is as beautiful as I described it. Oh, my aunt was throwing a birthday bash in my honor, but it really wasn't about me today because you see, we were all meeting my niece, Reese, for the very first time all together in Mexico. She was 3 months old. My aunt, my sister-in-law, and I all settled into the veranda with our margaritas Reese sleeping in her mom's arms, and my mom told us the story of the day that I was born. And it included those important details, it always does, but today was different. You see, because today was about my mom bonding with my sister-in-law about what it is to become a mother. And I said to myself, it doesn't get any better than this. What more could a girl want for her birthday, right? So yes, I've lived a pretty adventurous and amazing life. I'm a lucky girl. But the thing I'm most grateful for is the relationship that I have with my mother. And she gives me this gift every year, but it's not really just about me and my birthday. It's about the relationship that we started that day, April 9th, 1968, just after 10 p.m. in Dallas, Texas.